I'd just like to apologise for the autofocus in this video. I have just invested in a new camera to try and improve the quality of our videos, and I left it on auto mode while I was recording this. So apologies for it going in and out of focus, but I hope you enjoy the video anyway. Hey folks, Paul from Perth FourbeeFour Adventures. Now I've had a few people ask me on Facebook about the mods I've got done to my vehicle. So I thought it was about time we did a walk around, and of course it would be pretty boring if I did it all myself, so I've got Gary along with me, and he's going to go through and ask the questions and basically take over this scene and ask me all about my vehicle. So welcome Gary.
G'day Paul, how you going?
Mate. Good mate.
People, how are we? Okay, I guess first and foremost, what is she, Paul?
What is she? She's a WK2 Grand Cherokee, Jeep of course. The 3-litre CRD turbo diesel model with the Quadra-Track 2 drive system. Very capable vehicle, and you don't see many of them off the roads and on the tracks, but very capable vehicle as you've seen in our videos, and she keeps up with the big boys, so yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very, very good. Okay, so look, we'll start at the front, and I guess we want all of the viewers to bear in mind that both Paul and myself, we'll do my vehicle at a later point in time, because that's still well and truly under the build process, but with Paul's vehicle, look, it is basically a budget build, but there are parts that we just have not, or that Paul hasn't skimped on, because he needs quality. So what we'll do is we'll actually start with the bar. What type of bar work you got on it, Paul?
It's the AIB Deluxe Combo bar, so it's a good bar. You can get the winch in here. It's got all your mounts for your spotties. It's got 2 mounts up the top, one for SAM flag and one for the UHF. So I did decide that that is one of the things that you do need to go quality for. Spend a bit of cash, because you need your front protection. It comes complete with the bash plates underneath, not the rear bash plates, just the bash plates underneath to protect all the bits and pieces underneath. So of course when they put it on, they do cut away the entire bumper, which exposes your oil condenser and all those bits under there. So you do need the protection underneath of the plates. There's 2 corner ones and 1 at the front. So that was the other main reason I went for the ARB bar. Plus it's a good brand and it's a good sturdy bar.
Yeah, and steel of course, you obviously haven't gone down the track of the aluminium bar.
No, no.
Because realistically steel's so much stronger and not really that much heavier.
Yeah. You can get them colour coded to your vehicle, but that's about another $1,000. So kind of like, you know, step back the cost a little bit.
I think black looks absolutely perfect, because as you can tell, once you've been on the tracks, you can't tell what colour it is, and that's because it's white.
And excuse the mud, we have just been out forward driving.
Okie dokie, so attached to your bar, let's start with the lights.
Well, Gary would know these ones because they're off his old patch, the shorty patch. These are the Extreme Sport IPF HIDs. I haven't had a chance to use them yet. I haven't even got them, I've just got them wired up, but I haven't had a chance to use them. But just in the streets in the morning leaving to go to work, I can see how bright they are, so they look pretty cool. But, I will eventually get out on the track where I can actually set them up properly.
Yeah, and if memory serves me correctly, I believe they're either 10 or 12,000 lumens. Okay. But yeah, they're a quality light. Served me very, very well. Hopefully you'll get the same sort of service out of it.
Certainly will.
Okie dokie. Next, while we're still at the front, we move on. Aerial for your comms.
So this is budget. This is the budget side of the build. So for my communications, pretty much it's just the Oricom kit that you can buy from the 4-wheel drive super centre. It gives you your base, your microphone, all the wiring, and a 6.5 dB antenna with the base and the spring. So I find it's pretty good. I get good distance, anything up to about 6 or 7k out the front if you're in a high spot. To the back, more, maybe 1 to 2 kilometres before people say that I start breaking up. But you know, for the price of what you pay for it, it does the job.
Yeah, and it certainly serves us well, because we're never any more than about 1 kilometre away from each other when we're out in the tracks, which is basically what it's used for anyway.
That's right. Yeah, the only other thing underneath that I've put on, and I'm lucky I've got a camera in my hand because you won't be able to see it, so we will just stick that under there. That is the Unique 4x4 bash plate. Not bad gear from Unique, comes from the East Coast, and yeah, they do a fair bit of stuff for it. It's very hard to get parts built for the Jeep. but Unique do quite a good range, so that one's pretty good.
And just while we're at it, Paul's very thankful for that bash plate after the track that we've just come off. It got a good workout. All right.
Certainly did.
All right, now we'll move around to the back.
All right.
All right, with a little bit of magic of editing, we're at the back and you'll never have even seen us walk around the truck. Okay, open her up.
All right, now stuff could fall out here because we have just been on the tracks.
No, it's beautiful.
There we go, look at that. All right, in the back, again, budget. All right, so the 4-wheel drive centre got a good workout here. Titan draw system, 900mm draws. On the right side, I basically keep cooking gear and food. And on the left side, recovery gear, tools, jack, air compressor, all those sorts of things. Again, they are good quality. They might be cheap, but they're actually pretty good quality. Easy to install. 4 bolts, bolt straight into the floor. Take the tops off, 4 bolts straight into the floor. With your Land Cruisers and Prados and whatever, I think they actually line up with the bolt holes in the back for the extra seats. I may be wrong on that. I know they do with the Land Cruisers, I'm not sure on Prado. But yeah.
One thing that I noticed, I don't know whether we can see without giving the table a little bit of a push, I noticed you've got a clip on here. Did you put that on, or did that come with the
I
clips?
had to put that on because underneath here, and I'll just get the camera, because silly me left the camera at the front. Right, underneath here is a clip that goes in. That is what stops the fridge slide from sliding out. However, if you do that, it comes straight out. See how that just popped out there? I'll actually undo that. I'll put that back in. As you can see, it's not user friendly. Give that a bit of a shake and that just pops straight out. So not very good when it comes to your window in your fridge.
But having said that, again, it's a fault that you can pick up. You know that it's budget sort of part of the build, and for the want of a couple of bucks at Bunnings, I'm assuming.
Yep.
The problem has been overcome, and it works absolutely perfectly fine.
Yeah, all we'll do is slide that little barrel bolt across there, and it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, no, and that's absolutely awesome. Okay, we'll have a bit of a quick look around the sides there, because these drawers actually don't fill up everything at the back that I can see, but you've utilised the space up and down the sides of them quite well. So essentially, I guess that's come in handy to give you a smaller storage compartment. So you want to talk through what you use that for?
Usually you would get the wings. The wings don't come with the drawers, you buy them separately, but as you can see, there is not enough room here for me to put the wings in. And I have got a couple of pockets in the side here, so I keep all my tent pegs, a brush, and a few bits and pieces in that side. Down that side is jack stand, which comes in handy when you get bogged on the beach and you need to jack your car up. And on this side I just keep some straps, the axe, winch blanket, and actually underneath that there's a little cup, like a holder in here, and underneath there is actually the manual release for the fuel flap. So if anybody have got one of these and your fuel flap doesn't work, like mine stopped working the other week, there is actually a manual release underneath there that you can just pop it out with. So don't try and use a screwdriver like I do.
And I was going to say that might be fairly straightforward for those that have read the manual, but for real men who do not read manuals, it's handy to know that there's one there.
And I actually found that out because the wife googled it, so there you go.
And that's probably something she'll never let him live down. Okie dokie, let's step through another obviously budget option, and that would be the fridge.
So of course the drawers do come with the fridge slide, like I showed you, and that's the fridge. Now that's the 45 litre King's fridge, pretty much half the price of the big boys fridges, does the same job. This has been on non-stop since February, I think I bought it, and where are we now? We're at the end of August, beginning of September tomorrow.
Yep.
And it works non-stop. It basically, when I get home, I plug it into the power, so it runs on 240 volt when I get home, and then when I go out, when I leave, I just hook it up to the battery that I've got in the back, which I will show you, and it runs on that. But it pretty much runs 24/7 and it hasn't missed a beat yet, and I can tell you what, it keeps the cheeks nice and cold. So awesome bit of kit that, and again, budget. I'm not dishing the big bikes, but you can pay up to 1,500 bucks for a decent fridge from the big stores. That was 500.
Yeah.
So.
And I still think it all boils back down to what money you actually have to purchase what you believe that you need to set yourself up to go away with. And so far so good, that's absolutely worked.
Yep.
And it's not going to be the end of the world if in 2 years time when we're out in the tracks that does let you down, because we never go solo anyway.
No,
any
right.
sort of remote travel that we're doing, where if your fridge did break down it could spoil food, there's always someone else with us anyway, so that's not a problem whatsoever.
And Gary's always got a cold beer in his fridge too.
Absolutely, that's what they were built for. Alrighty.
Alright, that's pretty much it for the back.
Yep.
My spare wheel is under there, and it is a chore to get it out, but I would much rather have it there than on the roof, just to keep the weight down below rather than up the top. So.
Absolutely, and with the setup that you've got here, it still allows plenty of room for, you know, like swags, blankets, sleeping bags, chairs, tables, all of the other bits and pieces too. So I guess it's kind of a really good compromise that you've got the drawers in the back here for all of your stuff, and you've still got plenty of room up around the top.
So in there I generally put a container with all my other cooking gear in, and the swag fits neatly across the back seat when they're folded down. So you do have to push the doors in a bit hard.
I was going to say the swag that he's got more resembles a block of flat, and it folds down to the size of a small Volkswagen.
That's right.
But anyway, he's comfortable. He's comfortable.
It's more comfortable than a small Volkswagen.
Okie doke. Just while we're here, I noticed that you're running around with the recovery hitch on.
Yep.
So yes, we've been out four-wheel driving today, which is probably why you've got it on there.
Yep.
But do you run that while you're driving it, because you do use this vehicle as your daily driver?
I sometimes do get a bit lazy and leave it on and forget to take it off, but you should really take it off because you're not supposed to have it on.
Yeah, well see, I'm a little bit spoilt with mine because my spare wheel's on the back and that tucks in under my spare wheel, so I'm legal, it doesn't protrude past the back of the car. Okay Paul, well look, let's walk around the side, we'll have a look at your tyres, your roof rack and awning, and then we'll start moseying on back towards the front of the car and have a look at your cockpit last.
Okay. Alright guys, I must interrupt this video at this present point in time because my wife has decided to give me my birthday present just a little bit early. By the time this actually goes to air, I would have had my birthday, but she's given me my present early and it has to go into this video because it is a travel buddy. Been hanging out for one of these. Now I've seen Andrew St. Pierre, White, the boys from WK and Cam from Wild Touring, all have done reviews on this and they've all got positive things to say, so really happy for the wife and kids for getting me this for my birthday, and I'll be back in a couple of seconds after I've installed it. Alright, cheers guys. Alright guys, there you go. All I had to do was drill 2 holes, screw it into the back, and voila, travel buddy, there it is. So yeah, there you go, 2 screws, one in that side, one in that side. I've just got it in a ciggy plug for now in the side of the car, and that only comes on when the battery comes on, when the ignition's on, so therefore it won't drain my battery. But as you can see, there we go, 2 trays, and it has power. I haven't just thrown it in there. And you can set the temperature to whatever you want there. So awesome bit of kit, can't wait to use it. Someone told me a year or so ago that my wife was a keeper. I think that just proves it. Thanks babe.
Okay, again with the magic of editing, here we are. Alright Paul, let's start at the ground and we will work up. Wheels and tyres.
Alright, so we've got the equivalent of 33-inch tyres. Now the actual size, it does always escape me. Here we go. 285/65 R18, which is a 33-inch tyre. If I had my time again, I would probably go for a slightly smaller tyre because they do rub, and I'll show you with this camera. Inside there, you can see the inside of my wheel arch. The carpet is almost destroyed. And in that spot there was my wiring cable for the fuel flap, which is why I found out you could open it from the inside, because my tyre basically flexed up and pierced the wiring harness and my fuel flap no longer worked. So yeah, if I had my time again, I'd probably go for the next size down in the car.
Yeah, set of 32s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because at the end of the day, 33s are really nice to have, but if it's going to create problems for you with clearance, drop down to 32s. You're losing a ½ inch ground clearance. When you drop the air out of the tyres, you're going to pick that up again anyway. And I see there Toyo Open Country.
Yep.
What are they like as far as road noise, right?
To be honest, when I first put them on, they were as quiet as anything. But as they're wearing, they are getting noisier. You get that with an all-terrain tyre. Not as noisy as Muddy's, but they are getting noisier. You will notice sometimes on the in-car camera shots where you can hear a bit of noise. That's the tyres, but that's what we put up with when we want these sorts of tyres.
But just a word of warning for you, I drive a Jeep. Don't talk about road noise. Nothing. You got nothing. Lift, standard height, or if you had a lift put in it?
No, it's had the 2-inch lift, and again, this is where I went with the ARB Old Man Emu 2-inch lift. So I think suspension is something you really don't want to skimp on. It's a reliable part of the vehicle that you don't want failing you. So I pretty much got the bull bar and the lift all done at the same time. So yeah, and I'll tell you what, it's one of the best mods I've done to the car. It handles absolutely brilliantly ever since I did that. I've got that extra clearance, apart from that rock that I hit on the track today.
It was a big rock.
It was a big rock. It was a big rock. I was the only one that hit it, but it was a big rock.
I seen him hit it, I drove around it.
But yeah, one of the best mods I've done to the vehicle, and yeah, if I ever had to replace it, I would go back there again and get the same again. So yeah.
And I think, again, just one of the important parts about your suspension, like you say, you haven't scrimped on the suspension.
No.
Yes, there's more expensive suspension out there, but there's also a whole lot cheaper. Corrugations. When you're travelling remote in Australia, you cannot go past corrugations. They're horrendous, and good suspension will make things so much better for your vehicle, and obviously for your own comfort.
Yep.
So anyway, moving along. Let's have a look up the top up here.
Alright, the first mod I ever got done to the Jeep was the awning. 2.5 by 2.5 ARB awning, and I had to get the crossbar rack put in at the same time because of course you need something to mount your awning on. I don't know if I'd go back and get the top of the range one again, because an awning is an awning, and it's probably one of those things where you can go cheap. It was my first mod. I decided I wanted an ARB one, so I went and got an ARB one. But it's a good awning. It's been on there for a year and a half now, and it still works a treat. The only thing I will fault on them is the little Velcro tabs that hold the roof to the side poles. They are shit. there's no other word for it. They are crap.
So what you're saying is they're probably not as quality as the cost for that awning would indicate.
Exactly. ARB, you need to work on that. Apart from that, the rest of it, brilliant.
Yeah. And before there's any defamation suits here, ARB are not the only ones that have some dodgy equipment on their products, and this is only our personal opinion, has nothing whatsoever to do with any endorsements or derogatory comments about anything. Right. Thank you very much.
And obviously we're not sponsored by ARB.
Okay, moving on to the rest.
Pretty much on top of that, I've just got a cheap rack that I bought from Repco. I think it cost me like about 180 bucks. And it just bolts onto the top of the cross members. It holds firewood, you've seen it in the videos, it holds the firewood, it holds jerry cans, it holds bits and pieces when I've got no more room in the back, because the last thing you want is your diesel cans in the back, so they go on the roof. I did have the spare tyre up there, but when I was going through the dunes at Wilbinga one day, the whole rack came loose because of the weight that was sitting on it. Realistically, your cross members are only generally rated to about 50 kilos, so I don't know what my spare tyre and wheel would weigh.
Probably close to that.
Probably close to that, plus the weight of other stuff that's up there. You're pretty much on the limit with that sort of stuff. So if you throw your jerry cans and your firewood and whatnot, all of a sudden you're overweight on the top, and you can feel it when you're going through the dunes. You can feel the top of the car rocking around, so hence why I've got my spare tyre back in the spare tyre well, underneath my drawers and my fridge and everything else. So when I do get a puncture and I need to get it out, Gary's going to help me get the tyre out.
Or because I have a Jeep, we use a spare off mine,
I can
which
borrow
is
his spare
very
tyre.
handy, just on the back there. That's no problem whatsoever.
And then again, the shovel holder was just a cheap $35 thing off of eBay, because I wanted to get the ARB one that screws down, but apparently it wouldn't fit. So I just went on eBay and I got those up there, and hey, it works. Until you hit a tree, and then it comes off.
Or a set of sand hills that I tend to remember, where I give you a call on the radio to say that you'd left something behind.
Yes.
But having said that, again, that was a fairly rugged track.
Yes.
But yeah, look, Okay, take away the ARB awning, which is obviously good quality, and you pay for the quality that you're getting. The rack, everything else is budget, but it works, it does the job. Okay, yes, the rack's a little bit heavier than the good quality ones. It's probably not as big, it's probably not as robust as the good quality ones, but at the end of the day, it is a roof rack, and you're looking at 1 or 2 kilos worth of difference for triple the price. So anyway, let's see if we can't walk around the other side, and we might have a look in your cockpit.
Okay.
We'll get it out here. Okie doke, as you can see, we've changed over to the handheld simply because we need to get inside Paul's car into the cockpit. So at this point in time, I'll hold the camera and Paul can talk you through where he lives.
Alright, so it's pretty basic in here. I've got the UHF mounted down there, and the handpiece is just on there. Now again, this is 4-wheel drive super center. It's got all the controls on the handpiece. It's also got the speaker on there, so if you're deaf like me, you can just do that. It's also got a speaker in the bass part down there, so it's not too bad.
Just show them in there, tuck down the side of your leg. Does that not get in your way? Automatic, no, I guess. So
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, no clutch.
And excuse my dirty towel, but that's my way of stopping my carpets from getting muddy when we're on the muddy tracks.
And again, this is where we differ because my carpet just gets muddy.
That's right. Navigation, we've got the HEMA HX1. Brilliant. Can't fault it. Don't really know how to use it with finding waypoints and stuff like that, but for general navigation, I find it absolutely brilliant. You've got the explore side of it, where that's pretty much us there, and you can zoom in and out just by squeezing the screen. That button gives you your live action, so the cursor will move along with you. And then if you hit the H, and that takes you back to drive. And that's just like your normal navigation. Just you can program in your destination wherever you want to go, and that will direct you just like any other GPS unit will. So one of those things where I didn't skimp on it. They're worth, that probably cost, I think I got it for my birthday. I think the wife got it for me for my birthday.
Perfect price, free.
Yes. But yeah, not something you want to scrimp on. I do need to get some maps, some actual paper maps, because sometimes when you're trying to find something, it doesn't actually show up on there, or you might lose your satellite feed from it and you might not be able to get anything. But apart from that, for general 4-wheel driving around the tracks, local and just out of town, even on the Holland track, it was brilliant, so can't fault it. Just for holders, I mean, I've got my phone holder there from JB Hi-Fi, camera mount there, so they're the in-car ones. I'm just trying this one here as a closer one to try and reduce the tyre noise, and that one there points straight out the front, or I can turn it around, and if I've got a passenger and myself, and that will film both of us there, and it will also get my swag that's usually in the back as well. So apart from that, the rest is pretty basic. There's the 4-wheel drive controls there. As I said, it's the WK2 2 system, so it's got snow mode, which comes in really handy in Perth. Not auto, which is your normal drive mode. Sand and mud, which is pretty much just your high range for sand muddy tracks. And then it's got rock, which only works in low range. Rock is, it basically locks your central diffs and applies traction control, and gives you that extra grip when you need to get up the rocky hills like we did today. Absolute brilliant mode. And of course it's got downhill mode as well, which I don't like that much because it's very, very slow. If you're on a really steep descent, it's good, but if it's not that steep, I find it's just too slow. You basically end up hitting the accelerator to get down the hill a little bit faster, but it does give you good grip when you're going down the hills.
Yeah, well, say I drive a manual downhill mode. If you want to go quick, put foot in the clutch.
That's right.
No, for people at home watching that, no, don't do that. I was joking.
Don't do that, no. And that's pretty much it for in here.
Okay, so everything else is fairly standard. It's a good looking vehicle, and I've got to admit, it's been very surprising off track. I thought it was more of a pavement warrior. But it's not. Well, Paul's had it in some really interesting places, and hasn't let him down, and it's gone everywhere where anyone else goes. So that's really, really good. Particularly His fuel economy is probably a whole lot better than mine, but that's another story, and we'll discuss that on a walk around of mine.
All right, just climbing in the back. Excuse the mess. All right, another budget mod. Dual battery system. It is pretty much the king's battery box, and it is brilliant. To save yourself $2,500 on a dual battery system and all that, this cost me $500 for the battery. It's a 95 amp hour battery, I think, from memory. The box itself and a solar blanket was $500. Right, can't go wrong. As I said, this runs my fridge every day while I'm at work, while I'm out on the tracks, while I'm out doing overlanding, touring, whatever it is you call that we're doing, having fun adventuring. And
getting lost and finding our way home, basically.
And I can't fold it. It's brilliant. It's got a Siggy plug at the back. It's got 2 USB points there. It's got an Anderson plug point there, which I plug my fridge into. And it's got a regulator here so you don't overcharge. And that basically there connects to the solar blanket, which goes out the front. I can also charge it off my main battery. There are a couple of alligator clips that plug into that long lead that I can run it off my main battery and charge it from there. And I've also got somewhere here, there is a little plug somewhere where I just plug it into a battery charger once a week, and I charge it back up to about 13.6. And then it just slowly trickles down to about 12. If you push this button here, it'll tell you it's currently sitting at 12.4. And that hasn't been charged for 3 days. It's been running my fridge all day long today, and it's also charged up the camera gear. So I've got the cameras plug into here, they charge up there. Yeah, absolutely brilliant for $500. It beats the hell out of a $2,500 dual battery system, I can tell you. And you can take it out, run your campsite with it. It also runs my camp lights. So you can actually, I've got it strapped in here, but you can actually take it out. It's portable. Take it out, put it in your camp, take your fridge out of your car if you want, and you can basically have your camp power supply right there in the box. Absolutely brilliant.
That's a wonderful little tool there for $500. That's a whole lot cheaper than getting a full dual battery setup.
Yeah.
Particularly when you can struggle for space if you haven't got room to put your second battery under your bonnet.
Yeah, I believe in these vehicles they put your second battery under the seat, under the passenger seat, because the main battery is under the driver's seat. Yeah. No, they put it in. But I know the computer for the gearbox is under there.
Yeah.
But I've been told that the second battery fits in there as well. I'd like to see it, but
I'm not doubting.
It's not a very big hole down there, but you know.
Yeah. How do we say I'm not doubting you, but I've got my doubts?
Yes, that's right. But yeah, good bit of kit, that one. All right. All right, on the soft stuff today.
Yeah, driving when this finishes.
Cheers.
I was going to say mine is beer of the ginger variety. Good health.
And mine is cola beer, so there you go.
Alrighty. Okay, well I guess you've already touched on it a little bit while we were doing the walk around, but what's your favourite mod that you've had done to your car?
Favourite mod would have to be the bull bar. It gives you that protection up front. If you want to do sand dunes, it gives you that entry angle, the clearance at the front to be able to hit a sand dune hard, because sometimes you need to hit them hard to get up them. And it just gives you that good all-round protection at the front, and it gives you a place to put all your bits and pieces.
Yep. Okay, and number two?
Number two would have to be the lift. Before I got the lift, I was pretty much just even bottoming out on sand ruts. So, you know, since I've had that, I still kind of cringe every now and then when I see a rock in the middle of the track and kind of like, oh, but you know, got the extra basically 4 inches with the lift and the tyres. But yeah, I would go the lift.
No, and I think that's probably an important part to stress. Your two favourite mods that you've had done are probably two of the more important mods that need to be done to a vehicle, and they're both mods that you didn't scrimp on and go down the budget track. They're both mods that you actually put the time and effort and money into getting it right the first time, because you don't want to test and trial and go back through and find out you've done it wrong and pull it off and go again.
No,
So
that's right.
having said that, on your two top mods, what's your top budget mod?
Well, it would have to be either the battery or the fridge. I would say the battery, because being able to charge camera gear, run camp lights, run a fridge, run things that need a bit of power without worrying about draining your main battery, and for the price that it is, the setup that it is, I would say and it's portable.
Yeah.
So I would say that's brilliant.
Yep. And again, I think that's really important that we go through that, because again, that's something that saves money but is really good.
Yeah.
And just basically makes life so much easier for all of us that actually go away. And I know a majority of the times that it's you and myself, or now it's you, myself and Ben that tend to go away, and we do a fair bit of camping. So when you're around camp of an evening, the lights are spot on. Paul's paid for that mod. I don't have a dual battery set up yet because I've only just got this vehicle that I'm driving. So that's really handy, not just for Paul, but for the rest of us that share those campsites.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Now, I know we've known each other for a number of years now, and your build has been sort of started a couple of years ago and has slowly been going through, because we basically don't have the money to go and lash out 20 grand on all of the mods.
No, be nice.
But over that period of time, what is your number one trip? And we haven't rehearsed this at all. I've actually just dropped this on him, so it'll be interesting to see which one he pulls out of the bag.
Number one trip would have to be the Holland track. Even I go back and watch that video over and over again, especially the first one, because I just enjoyed it so much. It was something that I've been wanting to do for so long, and the fact that we were out there midweek and by ourselves, didn't see another soul on the track until the second last day. It was just brilliant, and the campsites that we had, yeah, I couldn't fault it. That would have to be my number one trip.
Yeah, well, I'd be picking the Holland track one as well, and for that very reason. It's yes, the Holland track is remote, but it can get quite busy. I've done it before. We did it a few years ago now over an Easter long weekend. It was like driving through the middle of Perth town. People everywhere. This time we went midweek, out of school holidays, and basically for the first 3 days, Paul and myself didn't see anybody else. There wasn't another soul about. And we had the pick of the campsites. The only downside, I think, that we had whilst we were there is it was very dry.
Yeah.
It's very much more exciting when there's water out there, but having said that, and we've said it before, we'll say it again, you've got to be a little bit careful what you wish for, because sometimes a little bit of water can turn into a lot of water. Now, and that's one other thing that I want to have a bit of a chat to the viewers that have been following your channel for a while now. I guess it's almost a little bit of an explanation, and I'll step in here for you, so because I know you're probably a little bit too modest to say. There's a lot of times when you'll see things on the camera that don't necessarily look all that difficult, and we drive around it. Now, more often than not, the camera doesn't do obstacles justice, and more often than not, what you see us drive around is water. Now, one thing that you'll notice on Paul's vehicle that he hasn't got fitted yet, that is coming, is a snorkel.
Yeah.
Now, these cars, this one here that we're talking about now, Paul's, is his daily driver. That's what gets him to and from work, that's what takes his family around, and it's seriously not worth the aggravation for 30 seconds of entertainment driving through deeper water to do $10,000+ worth of damage to your vehicle.
No, for sure.
So obviously, once the airbox gets sealed, once the snorkel goes on, then some of those water crossings will become a whole lot easier, and you'll see us tackling them more and more and more. But it's more of an explanation for the viewers than anything else, because we go out to enjoy ourselves. We go out to test ourselves and challenge ourselves on some of the tracks, but there are also obstacles that we look at and go, if I do that, that's more than likely going to cause damage to my car. Now in a couple of weeks, I'm not sure if that video will drop before this one drops, but you will see where Paul, Ben and myself were out on a track, which was earlier today, and you'll notice that Ben had a go at a couple of quite difficult challenges, and we'll keep it as a little bit of a surprise, but you'll see some close-ups of the outcome when you don't quite get things right, which can lead to expensive consequences. But anyway, having said that, all I can say is from my perspective, I think you've done a fantastic job with your vehicle. It's super reliable, it's got everything in it that you need. From an outsider's perspective, I see your setup is really first class, and it hasn't cost you $1 million.
No.
So I think you've done a really good job, and what that does is that gets him off his bum, out in to see the Australian bush and enjoying what we're doing.
That's right, we wouldn't have it any other way.
Yep, okay. Thank you very much, viewers. Enjoy the company, and we'll see you again soon.
Alright, just before we go, we kind of think we're going to do this as a bit of a series. So this is my first one. As you can see, it's budget versus spending a bit of money. We want to know what you drive. Have you got a similar setup? Have you got a vehicle that you've spent money on some things and you've done some, I won't say cheap, some inexpensive mods just to get you by? You're not sure whether that's what you wanted to do, so you've bought something, done something, tried something else. Do you want us to do a walk around of it? Comment below or drop us a message on our Facebook page. Please don't message my normal Facebook page. Our Facebook page, which is Perth FourbeeFour Adventures, or drop a comment below if you want us to do a walk around of your budget vehicle. Now, we don't really want to do vehicles that people have spent $50,000 on modifying them to the eyeballs. We'll leave that to Ronnie, that's his gig. On your Ronnie. We just want your budget vehicle. So if you want us to do a walk around of your vehicle, drop us a line, and we'll see what we can do. Alright, cheers guys.